Hello and welcome along to Terrace TV TicTalk podcast. I'm your host Toby, and in the room today we have our very own Celtic Unrestricted View podcaster Ryan. Ryan, how are we doing?
Well, good, Toby. Thanks for inviting me on. Looking forward to chatting with you and getting your Celtic chat, mate. Looking forward to it. Thanks for the invite.
No problem, mate. No problem. We're a wee bit different on here, mate. There's a lot of podcasts out there like yourself, obviously, who talk about the games and talk about. We will talk about that and what's happening, but that'll be a wee at the end. What we like to do is get a lowdown on you, the person, and the Celtic man within you, and how you come to support Celtic. So, Ryan, if you want to tell us a wee bit about yourself, a wee bit about the podcast, and then we'll jump into, obviously, your Celtic memories.
Yeah, of course, co-host a Celtic podcast, Celtic Unrestricted View. I've done it for maybe 4 or 5 years now. It's pretty enjoyable, keeps me busy. Obviously, what's happening at the club at the moment and stuff, it's pretty hectic going through it all and having to obviously speak about the bad times at the present time. But yeah, it's just really about, it's kind of what it says in the tin, unrestricted. It's your views and what you think about the club. Obviously, try and be as professional as you can, but we try and keep the swearables out as much as we can as well. But it is really about getting your passion across about the club and what you feel. And obviously, there's barriers, but we try and let you feel what you think about the club and what you feel should be going on and what shouldn't be going on. Obviously, because yourself, Toby, if you're not a season book holder or a shareholder, you don't really get a voice. So it's really for that, to get your voice across, get your opinions, what you feel. If you want to rant, if it helps you during your day, then come on and have a chat with us. We try and get the point of views up all the time. Questions from the crowd, questions from the viewers, and try and get them to ask us questions as well and get their views. So that's really what it's about. Obviously, we've got Sheffield Wednesday captain Barry Bannon on with us as well. So getting his kind of footballing knowledge is second to none. As much as we're fans, our opinion's good. When you get the knowledge from somebody like that, you've kind of got to take it more of a substance because it's different class, and we're very privileged to have him on as a contributor. So, so that's really the podcast in general, and it's enjoyable, man. It's good to put out content for the fans as well to listen and enjoy as well.
That is that, mate. Barry obviously is like us, Celtic man first and foremost, but very fortunate enough to be playing a game at a level and has a good insight into it as well, because he'll be giving us an insight to how the players are dealing with things. And all right, he's not playing with Celtic, but it's still the same. Dressing rooms are the same, the length and breadth for the country. So it's good to have that input with somebody with that knowledge and understanding and passion, obviously, for the club that we all support as well. Because although he plays a game, he's still passionate, he's still a Celtic man, and that's what's great to see when he's on it. So long may that continue. Yourself, obviously, Big Al, JP, wee Daniel. If I missed them, Big Al goes on then again. I think that's basically your nucleus of your team, isn't it? That's your main
Sean comes on as well now and again, but he's on now and again just due to obviously his kind of availability as well.
So how did that come about? How did that start? Who was it? How did that start then back in the day?
I done a previous Celtic podcast. It was me and one of my mates, Robert Boyle. It was called Celtic Now and Forever. I got approached by somebody on Twitter to kind of run a podcast for him. I says, why not? I can't play football. I got a bad injury, and at the present time I was kind of wanting to get involved in football and end up doing that for a few years. And then kind of me and Robert wanted to kind of take it forward and kind of do a bit bigger things with it, but Robert couldn't, unfortunately, kind of do it. So I kind of set up a new podcast called Celtic Unrestricted View. JP was on the podcast beforehand, and then JP just came in kind of full time. And ever since then, it's been me and JP kind of co-hosting it. And we've just obviously started off with getting 10 views, 20 views, 40 views. And now we've only got 2.5 kind of 1,000 subscribers, but we're getting okay views. And it's kind of every year it's getting better and better. And obviously we've had previous Celtic players on, like Alan Thompson's come on, Paul Byrne, Kevin Wilson. All these kind of sort of guys have come on and gave us their opinions. And obviously we're having Baz on now. In a way, you kind of pinch yourself, kind of starting off sitting in your room and Zoom calls to then doing live events with Joe Miller, talking to these guys. It's every year it's getting better, and that's really how it was set up. And then obviously JP's come in, few to go full time, myself co-hosting. Alan's come in now as well. Daniel's in, and Sean and Barry Bannon's come in a few to go full time. Speaking to Baz was phenomenal. first time, just asked him to come on, no bother, pal. And then ever since then, he's kept in touch with us, and now he's on kind of full time when he can, obviously when he's not training or playing. So it was just set up really, Toby, for fans for their opinions, because like I said, I don't think fans really, it's all right sitting in the pub with your mates or sitting at the games, but you don't really get an opinion. So we did do a dial-in, but we thought it was best just to get the comments up, because it was turning into a bit of a dabble sometimes. So, but I just think it was really set up, Toby, just to get the fans' opinions, because I don't think fans get an opinion if they're not really on a platform or at the games or a shareholder, because a lot of people can't get to games due to family, work. So if they come on here to the podcast, have a chat, then if that helps them get their opinion across and they feel a bit valued, but feel they're getting their frustrations or their opinions about Celtic, then that's really how we set up, mate. And to get the insights from, ideally, if we can get guests on, it can give a broadened horizon. It gives a broadened horizon of people's opinions and gives them an insight of what happens in the dressing rooms.
Yeah, that's it. You've got a good balance on all the boys you've got on it, all level-headed, all Celtic, wanting Celtic to win and speak for the heart. Sometimes it's easy to come on and talk what people want you to hear, but sometimes a rant is what you need. You need to come on and let have some steaming. And I heard when you were on, obviously, your own one, you always say, that's why we have debates, because it's good to debate. Not everybody's got the same opinion, and it's healthy to have a wee debate about that. So I keep it going, mate. I do enjoy it. I did like the dial-in. I did like that. I will not say I didn't, because I did like that rawness of people coming on and just giving you their opinion right away and having a wee bit of back and forth argument, so to speak, or debate. But I did like that. But your formats you've got to know, I do like that. I like the actual naturalness of taking people's points right away and just going off in one, and maybe not having a point of view or a script to work off of, just working off of what you're getting in your comment box, and that's always good as well, because it shows you're interacting with the fans and you're putting them first and foremost. I use your own hosting a show, but ultimately you're own hosting a show for them, and that's what it's all about. So keep it up, mate, as I say. But let's go into the actual show itself. So always start off with people asking a wee bit about them, which you've done. Let's go into the Celtic mantra now. When was your first memories of Celtic? When can you remember thinking Celtic as that's who they were before you actually become supporting them?
I was born in 93, so I didn't really know the 90s to a degree. So a lot of people might say that I'm entitled or spoiled, or I'm lucky that I've...
So you've won a watch, you're missing that. You've won a watch.
I've been very lucky, shall I call it, that I've seen Celtic be very successful. I think my first game was, I think it was somebody's testimonial against Bayern Munich at Celtic Park. I think that was it. And I can always remember, I'm sure Bayern Munich wore the grey and red strip. That's my first vivid memory of going to Celtic Park.
That might have been Paul McSaver.
Was that it then? Was it that one?
Was it Foggy?
I was young, Toby. I can't remember.
Man United came up and they played the grey and red strip. I'm sure
it might have been that then. It was either Man U or Bayern Munich.
Peter Grant's, aye. Peter Grant's was, I'm sure, red and blue one.
It was one of them, mate, but that's roughly my memory. And then I would say that I can fully remember, it would be the Martin O'Neill team. That's when I started to really kind of delve into Celtic.
Not a bad memory to start with.
That's probably, I would say, that's where I would say right now, from there onwards, I can understand Celtic and football and the players. That's probably, I would say, to get the more information from my head, that's probably that's where my Celtic kind of journey as a fan kind of started.
Yeah, so that's your era. My era, your era's there for like Martin O'Neill's era. So mine would be 88. So 86, going on for 86, but mine's is 8. I'm stuck in 1988, mate.
Is that the centenary?
Centenary season. Everything about it for me was just fantastic. I still love all the merchandise and all that for there. Most of the stuff that I buy, if I'm buying retro or I buy all that sort of stuff. But so Martin O'Neill's came in. Martin O'Neill came in, and there was a massive expectations when Martin O'Neill came in, because he's came in a big name, got to take the club forward. We were in a position where we were starting to get tight again with Rangers. You know what I mean? We'd won a couple back and forth, and that was really he came in at that point, and I thought, this guy will either date or it'll just be the same as the previous couple of managers we've struggled by. But Martin Neal's come in and he's put his stall out, he's cemented it, and he brought in some really big players that first season he's come in. You know what I mean? On players, what would be your? You said obviously that was your first game, your manager. What would be your period of time there? Looking back at that, would you have? Obviously, everybody says Larsson, right? He was the hero, he was the darling, and what other players would you say stands out for the years of supporting Celtic for then to the now? What is your maybe say your top 5 or 6? I know it's putting you in the spot, but just think of big players that you can think of.
Top 5. I'll try and balance it out between ability and kind of leadership and what they've done. You want a goalie in it, or just 5 outfield players?
Listen, it's just 5 players you thought they were outstanding. Brilliant for us.
I want to include Larsson, but I want to try and not include him because he's going to be in every Celtic fan's top 5. So this will be top 5 without Larsson, right? So for anybody who thinks I don't want to...
Top 5, but Larsson's number 1 elite.
Aye, so it'll be underneath him. A lot of people might go, why is Larsson? Well, Larsson is there, but I want to try and be a bit unoriginal and no put him in because he's always going to be in every Celtic fans team because that was the top striker for most Celtic fans back then. Well, when I was growing up, so it's very hard if you go through our areas because there's so many. But I would say I think I've said this before when I got asked about my 11. If you go defensively, I would say Johan Mjällby. Mjällby was different class, strong, physical. Had a wee bit of pace about him, but just a man mountain and just solid. And he was always dependable and he was also good looking as well. He was a big dolphin, it, cracking looking guy.
For me, he was one of the players which was, I always said, I was like you, I thought he had everything, but a lot of people didn't. He didn't at the time. I don't think he got a lot of credit because we had so many players in that team that were really good. But for me, Mjällby he's up there. He's one of the. In the last 20 odd year, he's one of the players that stands out at the back for you as well. So I totally agree with you on that, mate.
He was different class, Toby. Again, that's roughly what I can remember. That's just why I go back now to like defenders now. I've got compared to then. It's like I know football's changed, but by God, would you love a Johan Mjällby in your team, especially at the back? Especially with Nancy, we might touch on as we go along about the back three. He'd be a colossal in the back three at the moment. Yep. So in terms of Mjällby for that defensive line, I'm going to go with Kieran Tierney when he was here the first time. But defensively as well, world class in my opinion. I still think he's got that. There's bits of the world class Tierney still there, especially his deliveries. The deliveries are different gravy. His athleticism, just how many games he played, even when he was injured, and just that will and desire to play for Celtic. And he's doing what we'd all love to do, but he's doing it in a much larger scale. So I would say Kieran Tierney included in that. The midfield one it's hard. I'm going to go for more this time than I would if I would go for the earlier. I would say Lambert or Petrov, but I'm wanting to try and balance it about. So I'm going to go Scott Brown. Scott Brown for me was so underrated by some of the Celtic fan base. It's unbelievable. Again, this is by talking to guys who have played with him and guys who know him. Technically, he was very good, physical, strong, leadership, just a Celtic captain you would love in the modern times. For me, he's a modern day legend. I know that name gets about quite easily now, Toby, but he is an absolute legend for the club. And again, he could have went and he stayed for maybe more money and stuff. And I think Scott Brown, I don't know what you feel about Scott Brown, Toby, but I thought he was tremendous. I think he gets a lack of respect because he didn't go down south and didn't show his hand down there. But I still say, similar to Cam McGregor now, at his pop, Scott Brown could be down south. I'm not saying for your Arsenal, etc., but easily your top 10 teams you could have easily played every week.
Aye, no, I agree with you on it, mate. I think Bruni gets a raw deal because of the fact that he didn't go when he could have went, and he maybe should have went. But see, if you're enjoying your football and you're winning trophies and you're Europe year in, year out, why would you want to go and play elsewhere? Because what it shows you is it's not about the money for him. Because if he was going to go to the Premiership and be in one of your, say, like Aston Villas or at that time probably say like West Ham's or whatever, he'd probably be on 60 to 80 grand a week easy. But it just shows that it wasn't about the money for him, it was about winning trophies. And that's what I always like about that, because seeing years to come, people look back and say, I remember him. But bit about Scott Brown. He's got 20 odd trophies for Celtic. What is the guy got that you're saying went down south? I might have all the money, but has he got the career? No, I mean, Scott Brown, don't get me wrong, Scott Brown was healthy paid at Celtic, and it'll probably make him set for life if he's a shrewd businessman and he uses it the correct way. But what he done for Celtic is unbelievable. You know what I mean? And what I liked about it was, see, when he retired for Scotland, right, a lot of people were like up in arms about it, but that prolonged his career was for another 2-3 seasons further than what it would have if he'd still be playing. And it's the exact same with Callum McGregor to the extent now where he said, I'm going to take a wee step back for international duty. I'm going to concentrate on my club team because that's his bread and butter. And you see how much passion it is in him was the exact same as in Scott Brown. They're winners, they're born winners. So for me, I totally see where you're coming from, Phil. And he's there for me as well, mate. There's no denying he's there. As you said, legends used a lot, but I do say, for me, Scott Brown growing up in the terms of a football player is definitely a Celtic legend for me, mate, as well.
I thought he was tremendous, and like I said, he's probably the captain that I remember. I know now McGregor's there, but growing up, when I get to the stage of maybe like playing football myself, Scott Brown was the Celtic captain in a way. So I know back then, obviously, you'd Larson captain sometimes, Sutton's, Lennon, they all captained in that O'Neill team, but Scott Brown, in terms of growing up wise, that's the guy who was like that's the Celtic captain for me. Out wide, maybe I'm biased because he's been on the podcast before, but just I thought Alan Thompson was tremendous. What a signing! His left peg was an absolute wand. How he only get a half a cap or a cap for England it's daylight robbery for me. It's how he only got one cap was because at the time he was probably one of the left peggers for England at the time.
Because they were crying out for it. They were crying out for left-sided players and he didn't get a look in. The reason he didn't get a look in is quite simple. He's playing
up here
in Scotland.
Aye.
You know what I mean?
Aye.
I was fortunate, mate, to have been in his company. I played golf at John Hartson's Stadium, and there was me and two of my mates. Alan Thompson, the most down-to-earth guy you'll meet, mate. Time for everybody. And they were bombarding him with questions, and I wasn't really saying anything. And we were playing out, and he says, "Here, why? We'll change it up a bit, guys. Throw the balls up, and we'll take a partner. Whoever ball lands near each other will go." So he took my ball, his ball, and threw it away. And I was paired with him. And he said, "Why are you not asking the same? Why you know?" I said, "Mate, I'm just wanting to let you play golf. We can have a chat at the end." Or he's like, "Nobody can ask me anything you want." So I started asking, "What do you do now? And how's it like outside of football?" And he's like, "I don't really get asked that. I don't get asked what I do with my own time. I don't get asked how my family life is." And like a great chat, you know what I mean? So then he started opening up and telling me things about the football. And I was saying, I said, "I'll be honest with you." I said, "I used to berate you game after game and say you were this, you were that." And I said, "I mind giving you an absolute dog's abuse." I says, "And you cut inside and hit one off the underside of the bar against Rangers." I said, "I just couldn't say it." After that, I went, "Oh, I remember that well." "No, don't worry." So things like that. But Tomo for me, another outstanding player for us. Some of his goals, you couldn't. The amount of pressure probably and the goal, big massive goals in Europe. I mean, the one at Liverpool underneath the wall, outstanding. Yep. I was doing it that as well. See things like that. Like they'll live for you guys forever, and they'll live with us fans as well forever. But definitely Alan Thompson underrated as a player, and I just should have got better opportunity for England than he did get, which was pretty stupid, man. But I do like Alan Thompson a lot, mate.
Tom was different gravy, mate. I actually seen some of his goals this morning. The one that he cut on at Rangers, at Ibrox, and just big player for big moments. Up front, it's really hard because I've been blessed with so many good Celtic strikers. Just about every season, maybe barring this season as it stands at the moment, there's always been a top-class striker scoring goals and doing well. So it's very hard for me because when I was growing up playing football, I loved Gary Hooper. Thought Hooper was unbelievable. What a finisher. Chris Sutton was tremendous. It's big Sutton, Hartson. But I'm probably going to go with just recent time there because I remember it more. I'm going to go with Odsonne Edouard. A lot of people might go Kyogo. But for me, just my own opinion, just because he got me off my seat, he got me intrigued, he got me excited. For me, he had everything, maybe no in the air, but he had everything else. I thought Odsonne Edouard was different gravy for Celtic, especially the season before he left, take away the COVID. But people said that he down tools and stuff. He still got 20 odd goals that season. And now he's flying with lawns. He's got a chance to play football again. I thought we should have tried to get him back. I know I don't like getting old players back, but there's a certain calibre player I think you can get back. And for me, Odsonne Edouard was what a player when he got into his own and he was the main man at Celtic. I know you had Griffiths said as well, but for me, Edouard as well, but Edouard for me, Edouard just, I think it's just a bit of class, Toby. He's like, Kyogo was good, right, but I didn't really get off my chair when he get the ball. When Edouard got the ball, I'm like, on you go, son. Go and do something. It's just...
something might happen here.
It's like that Jota type of feel. Like, as soon as Jota gets the ball, you know he's got to do something. But Edouard just... For me, people, it's Toby, you might think different. The viewers might think different. Other people might think different. If you're going to go like the best since Kyogo, Larson, if that's possible, I'm probably going to say Edouard because I think he had everything. He scored goals, he could take men on, he could hold the ball up, and I just loved him. Maybe that's just my personal preference, but that's the sort of player I think we've got. I don't think we've got a player like that now. Gets you off your seat, scores goals, big goals as well. And for me, that's probably, again, I could pick loads, Toby, but a rough five at the moment. Edouard for me would be up there, mate.
Well, that's it, mate. It's about opinions, and that's how excited you have. As you said there, is there anybody in this current squad that you would look at? Looking at all the years there, right? All the players you've been naming, look at the teams that they played in. There was always somebody possibly coming off that bench that we would go, here, he can make a difference here. He can turn this round. He can change a game. We've not really got that in abundance at all now. With maybe 3 or 4 players in the sides going by where you would say, if they're on the bench, they can come off and they can actually change it. We know we're looking at people coming off the bench, we're saying, oh my God, what are you going to do? When is Jota going to be back? When is Alistair Johnson going to be back in the side? You know what I mean? Things like that. So for me, like, Kelechi Iheanacho's a player that knew that I would say he will excite, but if he could just get a run of games, man, because he's got that passion, that desire, you can see him, he gets all fired up. But mate, I think looking back here the years, we've been spoiled for choice with strikers and that, your Larsons, Harts and Suttons. I mean, Gary Hooper, Lee Griffiths, Odsonne Edouard, Dembele, Kyogo latterly as well. And you were saying there that, but you don't always need to get necessarily somebody to come back. But we were saying earlier on, KT is back. Who else was it we were saying as well? Jota's back. And I remember the first time I seen a player coming back when I was wee would have been Charlie Nicholas or something like that. Come back to say, like, you know what I mean?
Did the fact Machiavelli come back twice?
Machiavelli came back, so like that, but it doesn't always work out the second time for some reason for some players, know what I mean? And just hope it will work out for Jota when he's back fit and KT keeps performing the way he's performing, mate. Looking back here the years, you've been following Celtic for a number of years, mate. Is there any particular game that stands out in your head that you say that is for me one of the best games I've seen? Or no, it doesn't need to be the best game, just the best feeling at a game. You know what I mean? There's one game out there that sticks in your mind that you loved.
Being not at the games, just briefly remembering it was obviously the 6-2 game when O'Neill came in. That's always going to be a topic of conversation because I think I speak majority of Celtic fans who were there at that present time, then older than me. That kind of turned the tide, roughly. That set the standard and like, we're actually a good team here. This guy knows what he's doing. He's brought these players in. They're quality players. And bear in mind, that was a very, very good Rangers team at the time as well. Players.
What age would you have been then? Ryan, what age would you have been then on that 6-2 game? I can actually tell you what I was doing that exact day.
I'll probably say, it was 93, so about 8 or 9 roughly. I was about 8 or 9, I think Seville. 10 about Seville. So run about then. So
I was at that game, the 6-2 game, I was at it. I was at the left-hand side of the Celtic dugout at the gate as a steward on that day.
Oh, all right.
So it was, and it was, the feeling was unbelievable, mate. And we get took in a couple of weeks after it, pictures on the paper and all that. And the boy who was doing the head of security at the time took everybody in and had a meeting. And it was called Protect event at the time that steward at Celtic Park. And it was green, red and yellow ties we had and all that, and the caps. So he took us in and he said, what is wrong with this picture? And I went, oh my God. So, because we've just scored and everybody's up celebrating.
You're celebrating?
No. I'm coming out my gate but I'm coming at my gate backwards, so to speak, so I'm still watching the crowd. I'm thinking he's going to say this guy's come out and not been watching where he's gone or whatever, and they're like, oh, this and that. And he went, no, look at these, pointed out 4 stewards all celebrating. He went, the only thing in this picture's right, and circled it. He went, is this wee guy here? Who's he? I'm like, it's me. He went, you're the only guy doing your job there, son. You're the only guy focused on. I'm saying to myself, see if that picture took 2 seconds sooner. He's not seen me jumping about like lunatic. You know what I mean? So that's when I was on that day, the 6-2 game, Celtic Park, stewarding. That was my first season and my only season. And then I was like, no, back to watch, back to the games, get that main season, but it was there again, and that was that. But so talk about games. My game for me, you're 6-2. I love the 6-2, don't get me wrong, but it's still for me, Rogic Cup final, Aberdeen, piss and rain. It's still one of the most. I get a feeling, like even just thinking about it, mate. I can feel the hairs on my neck standing up. Everything about it is just. It's turning around and saying to my mate, see if you don't score, we'll never score. And Rodgers gets the ball. Rogic gets the ball, and it's pure slow motion. Everything's just slow motion for him, and he picks up and starts coasting by people. Get in, and then he's running like he's just the cross. He's not got it. He can't get it in the net. He's not got it. And it's just went in the next minute. Bedlam, man. Absolute bedlam. And that is, for me, it's one of the best feelings ever. To score that late in the game and just to see the pictures in his face. He's not, I've got a picture in the house, mate. It's just amazing. Just that feeling gets me every single time. So for me, that is my best game ever so far that I think of.
I wasn't at that game, but I can remember obviously watching it, and I still say that for me to see Celtic do a quadruple treble, to do as much as I know in recent times we've obviously slaughtered the board and there's fans in the board and the play, everything's all a bit up and down now. But for me to see an unbeaten, invincible treble, it's stuff of dreams, and I don't think it will ever happen again. If it happens again, then I'm alive. Honestly, amazing. But I think I went out of now. Obviously, drink responsibly, etc. But I went out all the time. I was like, I need to savour this because I'm as I'm getting older, I'm like, I might not see a Celtic win again, trophy wise. I might not see a trophy again in the way football goes. So I need to enjoy it all the time. But in terms of being at the game, probably say in recent times, the best feeling, the best atmosphere I've ever been to was a 3-0 game. We beat Rangers in March with Ange. I think it was February, March. I actually had a bet on that day. I had 3-0 Celtic, so I got a few quid up that. I was so sure we were going to beat Rangers with a comfortable margin. And see that way, it was a night time, it was foggy, it was the lights. I walked to my seat and I was just like, something's going to happen tonight. There was just something in there that night, and I was an absolute. It was 3-0 going on about 30-0. It was a total obliteration, and I think that scarred Rangers for a long time, because every time it came to Celtic Park and played Celtic, it was just, is it 3, is it 4, is it 5? It was just, you were so confident. No,
confident. It wasn't overconfidence. It was confidence. It was rightly there because you were playing good football. Your players were really good. You had confidence oozing through the team. So it wasn't overconfidence. It wasn't arrogance.
Now you're thinking, right, just get a victory. The last few years it's been, right, is it 3, is it 2, is it 4? Now it's right, just beat them 90 minutes now. just go and get a victory. But
I just get the point.
But that game, Toby, I don't know if you were at the game yourself or you're feeling the game, but that was an amazing victory. And I think that's when, because there was a few doubts about the Ange team and could they go further, and I think that set the statement, right, this is a proper Celtic team at that time, because like you say, Tati was flying, you had Jota, Abada, Kyogo, and like even Abada, by the way, Abada was different class. I know he was raw and maybe need a bit more coaching, but you've seen the raw ability. I mean, a game of Lean got a play like that at the present time.
Aye. Mate, no, I've been, as you were saying earlier on, about fortunate. I've been very, very fortunate that when we won the 9 in a row, I was very, very, very fortunate to be attending every game, home and away. Very, very fortunate. And I look, people say to me, but I don't deserve to be at a Celtic game anywhere than the next guy, mate. And I'm proud of the fact that if I can't get to a game, I'll be willing to get. I'd give my ticket away to numerous people, mate. And people say, but why you get it away? Well, it's paid for. I'm not going to let it go to waste. I'll get to somebody else, whether it be my mate in his vein or my daughter started going and her boyfriend and just guys I know that can't really get a ticket, because it's very hard to get a ticket now, home and away. Very, very hard. You know that yourself, mate, how hard it is. And just to give people opportunity or give them a chance to go to a game. Like I was at Terrace here the other night, and always go up to Terrace, always try and get an extra ticket, because my mate Edo stays up there, and I know he can't get a ticket. So that's like our thing when we go to Dundee or Dundee United, we're always together, we sit, and the thing that like my mate Kev said, did you even talking about the football? I'm like, no, we're watching the game but just talking about other stuff, and it's that way you're talking, and then half time comes and you talk about the first half. No, I mean, you talk about the game, and then the game starts back, you start talking about other stuff. How's Mrs., how's Wayne's, how was your wedding, how has it been for your wedding, what did you do, that stuff like that. And
a catch-up, basically.
Catch-up, but at the game, we're still watching the game, and then we'll maybe we'll text about the game later on when we get home. I mean, he texts me that, brilliant, in my bed, 11:10, I'm like, brilliant, stuck in traffic, you know what I mean? So, things like that, but I say, it's the opposite thing, because he's travelling down for there to go to every home game, you know what I mean? So, but there's so much in football, mate. You'll know yourself. You go to games and you meet people and your friendships. I mean, you're doing the podcast and things like that. You'll meet other people through that. You start building relationships, friendships, bonding with other Celtic fans, because that's what it is. It's family-wise, man. You go on holiday, and you'll know this yourself. When you go abroad, you'll start meeting people, and you'll meet them time and time again. And then you maybe go to the game, you'll bump into them. Oh, how have you been? I mean, I was away and met an old guy, Jack Keenan, I was in Fingaroa and met him. He was from Cumbernauld. I had not seen Jack one time. Never seen him in my life. Following Celtic. Bumped into him on holiday because he caught my Celtic towel, my scarf, and my flag. Had it at the balcony. And he seen me at the pool and he went, is that yours? I says, aye. He went, I'm a shirt man. How you doing? Every time since then, see him at every game home and away, mate.
That's crazy, isn't it?
I'd never seen him one time prior to it, or I couldn't remember seeing him, but every time since then, see him. And that's it. But as I say, mate, I'm very fortunate to be allowed to go and follow Celtic. My missus lets me go to football, because that's what I say. She does let me go. Probably wants me out the house, to be honest. But I'm very fortunate that I've got opportunity and I've got a good criteria, because I've been going that long. And it's very hard for it. And I feel for the next generation of fans under us, mate, under you, who can't get in. I mean, we know we're looking at the stadium upgrades and whatever, or we need a bigger stadium. But we're at this point in time, if we had that bigger stadium, would it be full? Because if we're having a bad patch, people want to turn their back on the team, or they don't want to go, and it's hard. So we know that Celtic Park could be bigger. We know that it could get full, but how would it be full often enough, or would the season get soaked? But that's that. But moving on again, mate. Very fortunate, Bayface, to see Celtic win umpteen trophies in the last 20 years. Is a point when you look back and say to yourself, God, like obviously you spoke about the quadruple, but is there a point you've looked back and said to yourself, that's where it started, or that's where it all kicked in? What point do you think we turned a corner and really went for it? Because I think if the shoe was never fit, put it this way, right, back in 2012, we would have been dead and buried, mate. That team across the city for me would have won treble after treble after treble after treble. When do you think that our turning point was in that process of going for trebles?
Brendan Rodgers came into Celtic. I think he kind of made the trebles as a norm and expected. Well, no, that's a bad opinion to have, or is it too? I don't want to say entitled, because it's one word I don't like is spoiled and entitled, Toby, because for me it's about standards, and especially this is why at the present time I think the standards all over the club are not the way they should be as a Celtic fan, or the club that we expect the club to be, as obviously Nicholson says, world-class basics, or actually, I don't want to go into it, but you know what I'm saying. That's what I expect the standards to always be set in stone. So Rodgers, for me, came in and set standards right away. The standard of players he brought in, like Sinclair, Kolo Touré, might have not been a Kolo Touré of old, but he was a leader. He set a bit of the standards. He got players to come in right away. You've seen the quality lifted. For me, Scott Sinclair was tremendous. I know he flattered to receive the last bit of his career, but I thought this is where I think the standard of player. So he hardly really played with Aston Villa, or he was playing, I think he was playing fullback near the end of his time at Aston Villa. But as soon as I don't know if it's how good he was or how good Scottish football was, but when he came in, you've seen the quality level when he came in. It's just the pace, the power, how good he was at scoring goals. And you're thinking, wow, this is the quality we're going to get with Brendan Rodgers. Well, here we go. Obviously, Dembele came in. He was raw. He was a young Dembele, but he didn't half look like he was getting to the full article as well. So, probably say Brendan Rodgers. I know, listen, people will get opinions about Brendan Rodgers. He's this and that. Listen, no matter what anybody thinks, in my opinion, he brought some unbelievable days and players to this football club, i.e. Scott.
You'll never be able to take that away from me.
No, listen, Toby, there's going to be people that are going to say he's this and that, or some are going to sit and say certain words, but he's no. Some fans of the fan base don't like him, which is fine, right? We all didn't like him when he left, but sometimes you need to take away the personal side of it and just look at the football side of it.
And the statistics and what was done.
What he brought to me as a Celtic fan was, I'll always be indebted to him for that, because he's made Celtic winning trebles and doubles and the norm. And we're expecting, we're not expecting it, but you're vaguely thinking we're going to win a treble this year, and we don't want a double. I'll tell you, why's the treble not this year?
We feel like a failure.
And winning the league's a bread and butter.
That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. League is a bread and butter. I totally agree with you. When Rodgers came in, well, the bar was raised, and you just have to look how many people turned up to see him as a manager.
Was it not 10,000 or something?
Well, the main stand was full, and then they had to open round behind the walls or whatever, but for me, that is when the standards shifted, mate. And when Scott Sinclair came in, is it because the game was here, or it's because he was who he was. He was a player. He was always that player, but he came into your league and he had a chance to go and express himself, play the football he liked, enjoy the good players around about him. And all these factors came into play. So I do believe, I totally agree with you on that as well, mate. Rodgers came in the first time and brought players level up a bit, because we had like Armstrong and things like that, who were good players, and we always liked them. They were doing really well, but when Rodgers came in, they sort of lifted their game again. They progressed a wee bit more, and by bringing in quality players, it meant the players that we had to up their game as well. So we started getting more out of them. They started performing more. They started getting more into the game. They started wanting to be more winning all the time, and so I totally loved. Mate, see for that and all that. These seasons for me were great. I will, as you say, people will say what they want to say, but that's it again. That's their opinion. They're entitled to it. We're entitled to their opinion. We don't need to agree with you, because that's the way football is. But I loved it, I know, mate. All your time I supporting Celtic, watching Celtic as well. The jersey, you know what I mean? We've got two behind us here. You've got one on your cell. The Celtic taps, the Celtic merchandise, whatever it want to be. What is your favourite strip of all time? Have you got one, or is there a jersey out there just sticks out? I mean, if I see that jersey there, right, I think you Charlie Mulgrew, right? If I see that one there, I think you Massimo Donati. Things like that. See a player in a strip. That's for me. That I look at the centenary tap and I see Paul McStay. Things like that. Know what I mean? Is there a player for you that you see a strip? Boom, that's who it is. And what is that strip? What's your favourite strip?
There's three strips and three players off the top of my head. Hooper's the one where Neil Lennon, I think it was the red Terrace one. That one, Hooper stands out for me. Magic Żurawski's the old green one with Stratton, the away one. That's actually my first. Well, that's my last Celtic strip that I bought. I get Żurawski number 7 at the back of it in long sleeves, and the sleeves didn't fit me. They were too big for me. Yeah. Aye. I was like, well, fun in a Celtic jersey. And then my last one would be Tom Rogic with that jersey. That cup final victory, that I'm like you, that just I see that jersey in the first, I think he's Tom Rogic. So that been 3 strips.
So for Rogic, for me, is a yellow jersey, yellow and green. So as soon as I see the yellow and green away jersey, it's just Rogic. I only bought it because of Rogic. Know what I mean? I loved Tam Rogic, mate. Absolutely loved him. Adored him.
Brilliant.
Do you remember he scored at Kilmarnock?
The one with the dialer?
Yes.
That dialer?
So the ball gets kicked into the crowd. Go to Bonnehouse.
You'll need to get him to sign it. You'll need to get him to sign it, man.
Listen, I was going down to a West Brom game and everything. I've got a Rogic
I've got a Rogic
match tap, and I've got the ball. I've also got a Scottish Sinclair tap for a European game as well. I need to get signed. And I've been 2 places where he's been. Scott Sinclair's quite good. He actually does reply to you when you speak to him on Twitter sometimes.
Does he?
And I said he was away. He was up somewhere in the Highlands last year, and I was up there with my missus at Aviemore, and I tweeted him to see if he was running about Aviemore, and he's like, I'm not near Aviemore. And I was like, I've got a tap. He's like, next time I'm in Glasgow and announce it, I'll just come and find me, I'll sign it. You know what I mean? And that's it. And that's it, mate. And just things like that. You know what I mean? Players really, they make it special for people, man. And then you get players who really kill you. I mean, I've spoken here before at length to players who don't give you a minute of their time. And I don't agree with that whatsoever.
I think it's something, again, Toby, I know, listen, fans probably bombard people, but see, like, I'll give you a scenario. Me and JP went down and watched Barry Barron play 2 years ago. And obviously he took us into the bit where they all go, he gave us a wee bit of the hospitality, but he took us up there, get out of the way, which was amazing for him, by the way, amazing hospitality that he gave us. Took us in and see him, but Barry's down there as an absolute king. Like, he's a king of Sheffield Wednesday. They all love him. He's what a player as well, by the way. But all the wee kids love him. The fans, the adults love him. Even though he was into the game, he stood for every single fan, adults, kids. And I'm like, Baz, does that no take its toll? He's like, right, he says, I need to do it. He says, I loved it. He says, because if I sign that kid or that girl's jersey, that makes their day. Oh, Barry, he says, I need to think it, that's part, and I thought, you know what, that's amazing. Because like you said, there's some fans, now I'm not the sort of person that, I don't really stand outside of games and get signed. If it's something like, I've got a jersey in the house actually, I think it was under Terrace. It's one of their limited edition ones that they sign and they put. I've got one of them. Say I was missing a signature, I would try and get that. That's it. But I get what you're saying. I think it's different if you're out in Nando's and they come up to you and look like I'm in my family. That is different.
I totally agree with that, mate.
But I think
no space.
Aye, but I think
I've been. On you go, mate. On you go.
No, I think you're right. If you walk up to it during a game or not during a game, but if it's after the game or even at training at Barrowfield, just that might make that wee girl, that wee boy, or even me. See if I'm 32. See if I'm out McGregor, Cal can get a photo. Even though I'm 32 years old, he's to me. I know I don't play football now because of injury, Toby, but he's still That's the captain of Celtic. It's still a memory. Now, but here's a topic for conversation, right? There's a guy who if I met, he's no good for us Celtic fans because he beat his 10 Gerrard, right? I'd love to get a photo of Gerrard, but I can't because he's managed Rangers. World class player, unbelievable. What a photo that would be, but I can't because he's ruined me. He's ruined me. he's ruined me. Do you know what I mean?
I've got one. Gascoigne for me, mate. When Paul Gascoigne signed for Rangers, I had Gaza posters on my room wall. I adore Napoli.
But you can't.
Lazio gear. I loved it. Everything about me brilliant. And then it was on the news. Paul Gascoigne was playing Celtic Park next season. I was jumping about. I mean, get in there. And then he signed for Rangers. I was like, rough half was.
And the bin.
Pure distraught, mate. And it's that. But I don't agree. Like, see, like people are in their space. Even if you go to like a dinner, right? See, you're at a charity dinner, right? They're there. They know they're going to get hounded, right? You're at a charity event. These players know they're going to get it. I was at the Petrov Milner dinner thing before the Petrov game one year at Celtic Park, and I was sitting with my mates, and Histro Stoichkov was there. I was just standing looking at him. Just kept going like that, big skin and that. Look, there's Stoichkov there, there's Stoichkov. Going there, I went, oh no, man, no chance, man. that guy's amazing and that. And the boy's like, go and get his picture. Go get your. I said, no, I couldn't. And when I got up, I couldn't even talk to the guy. Michael went, can you get his picture? And he's like, sure. And I'm like, just standing looking at him. I got the picture's taken, I'm looking at him. And then they like, turn around, I had to turn around to take the picture. Two pictures, one, we just staring at him.
I've got the exact same scenario as that. It was about Scott Brown was a manager of Fleetwood. That was the game we went and seen. We went down and seen Baz. And he's took us in the tunnel and that. And Scott Brown was next to me. And me and JP like, we got a photo. I was pure starstruck. I'm like, there's Scott Brown, man. There's Scott Brown. Me and JP like, why don't we get a photo, man? But I just didn't feel it was, bear in mind, they just get beating the game. I went, no, it's not the time to go, all right, Scott, can I get a photo? Your team's just been, I've like, nah. But see, looking back, I'm like, I should have done that, man. You know what I mean?
We were
you know what I mean?
I was going to the games, unfortunately, to not miss any. I try not to miss many games, mate, unless something's happening. I've got a day, if you arrange a day out, and then see if I've got a day out and the fixture changes, I'll stick to my day out because I've made a commitment to my mates.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So things like that always happen to me, and I'll say no. And so 9-0. Celtic were playing Dundee United. It was 9-0.
I was at that game.
And I had booked a weekend away in Blackpool for some reason, unknown to man why. And I'm sitting in the Catholic club in Queen Street watching it going, why am I even here? You know what I mean? And my mates are off phone me having a laugh and all that. But we were at my cousin's wedding. So we were. So Connor had been on, he's been on the previous one.
What's that?
And it comes up. Celtic are playing Hibs, so they are. And we're at his wedding. So we're all outside like that. The phone's after the service. Watching it where a picture get took. Toby's come for your picture. 2 minutes. There's 5 minutes off time or something like that. And so sitting down for a meal, and somebody had obviously contacted Scott Brown, and he's put a message up. Good afternoon, Connor, Hera. Congratulations, your wedding day. Why you get married today? I don't know. Why you get married today? I don't know. Celtic are playing Hibs, my two teams, and these are all Celtic people, and you've get married. They went unbelievable, but I wish you all the best.
That's brilliant.
It was fantastic, but I always like players. I love the fact that is obviously Barry gets it. Stonzer, Tommy Burns was another one, mate. I was young and we played Hibs. It was the time Hampden was getting renovated, so the semi-final and the final was either Celtic Park or Ibrox. And if we were in the semi, we were at Ibrox, and vice versa. Then if the final Celtic Rangers, they always said it was going to be a toss-up to where they get played. It was heads and tails or whatever. So we played Hibs. So we did on a Friday night. And it finished a draw, so it was automatically going to be a replay. And then the next announcement, 2 minutes after the game, tickets will go on sale tomorrow morning at Celtic ticket office at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. The tickets will be on sale 9 a.m. Right. So we're up there. Me and my cousin John are up there about 7 in the morning. We're fifth in the queue. Okay, what's happening? It's supposed to be open. Nothing. Tommy Burns turns up. Tommy, what's happening? What's wrong, guys? Why is the ticket office not open? I didn't open till 11, Tommy. No. Said in the tannoy last night, said, because I get him and Rosemary, his missus Rosemary said to him, you're going to be busy and you go to work tomorrow morning, because you always went in the day after the game to whatever it was the day. He said, what is it, hen? The tickets on sale at 9. He went, I heard that. Is that right? 9 o'clock? He said, so that ticket office was to open at 9, but nobody's in, they don't start till 11. He went, well many of you, there's 2 in, we'll get it opened in. These people aren't on here for nothing.
That's brilliant.
He came down with a wee trolley with tea and coffee. Tell him, do you want a tea or coffee? You've been waiting, how long have you been? And I'm like, that's a man who gets it. You know what I mean? Understands what it's about. And then goes in and he's, guys, we're sorry, we're going to be 5 minutes. We'll get you in. They're all coming in the new. I can only apologise. But just like that, people will always say that players, they get paid really good money, so they should always be there to take pictures and give autographs. Aye, when about the ground or at the training ground, I totally agree with that. That's what it should be. But if you're sitting down with your dinner in Nando's or you're up the Hutley or something with your missus, or you're out and you get bumped into, know what I mean? Obviously, if you're on a plane, there's nowhere you can go on a plane. So if you're lucky enough to get on the same plane as a player, 2 seconds of your time, it's going to get a picture, but it could get a bit annoying, know what I mean? I
actually think, see, if I amazingly sat next to a Celtic player, I think because I'm intrigued now, because I don't play now, I'm intrigued about like the tatty side of the dressing room. I'd be like, that guy would not get a minute's peace, especially if I'm on a few beers. I'm like, hey, what's this? Who's that? Is he good? I'd be annoying. So just as well, I don't meet something on a plane.
We were at, back to that, the Seville run.
Were you in Seville?
Aye, back to Seville run. I was at a Blackburn game, done at Blackburn and all. Simon Donnelly was sitting in the row next to us, the row behind us. I kept saying to my mate Joe, I was like, Simon Donnelly. So I get a picture. Brilliant. And at that time, I actually had a camera with me.
Oh, right.
Actual camera. So I was taking cameras at the game, and listen, so many pictures and all, man. Even with
have you still got them?
Aye, mate. I've got seen so many stuff. I was a picture framer growing up, so I used to frame all my prints.
Right.
Yeah, and wee pictures and the frames. I got hundreds of Larson stuff. Simon Donnelly, when he was a player, used to get me sign it all. Paul Byrne and all, you had Byrne on your show. Loved him, mate. Another one of my heroes. For me, Paul Byrne was everything for coming through. I was a midfielder. I loved him. Just watching that. But we used to do the prints for Celtic Park and all. Used to put them in. So I was always trying. My boss like, you can't take. They're all numbered. Well, I know, but we've got a photocopy there. Just a photocopy of the prints, 1 to 100. First man, take it and give him the photocopy of. So somebody there thinks I've got a number 1 print, mate.
It's no.
It's a colour photocopy. The number 1 print's in my house somewhere. But I love it, mate. And I very following Celtic early years. There have been so many opportunities and great stories as well. And I've been very fortunate. I don't know if you've ever went yourself, mate, to the convention in Vegas.
Never.
It's something different. I always say to people, if there's one thing in your life you want to do is go to a convention and just experience it. Where else in the world would you have over 4,000 Celtic fans without a ball getting kicked? There's no football happening. You know what I mean? They're all there to hear stories and listen to ex-players and past players and guys that have wore the jersey and lucky enough to wear the jersey and mingling and friendships and all, man. Like the boy Deco who runs it. I'm speaking to Deco quite a bit online and all that. He was right pal with my uncle and that. But he's for Canada. You know what I mean?
That's brilliant, isn't
it? His mentor and the boy Brian, it comes from Australia. He comes to all the games there here. Floats about, loves it. All these people you meet, man. I bumped into Gianni Capaldi. Outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Wee Martin Compton was at one. So, and he's like, it's just down the road for me, basically. No, that's what you said, you know what I mean? So, he stayed in Vegas at that time. But mate, just love it. Everything about Celtic, growing up, it's always been good. And as we say, the last 20 years have been really, really good, really kind to us. And that's because we have been pushing forward and trying to progress. But the last wee bit here, we'll just talk about where we're the new, mate. I think I do say that Rodgers carries a bit of the can, the board carries a bit of it, the way we've went, because, and also ultimately the players for me as well, because as soon as you put a team to go that line, basically that's where it stops, because it's the 11 guys on the pitch need to perform. It's 11 against 11, you know what I mean? So it's a will to win by the guys on the park. You can only put out what you've got out there in front of you to play. And if you've not got the best team, then you need to start making waves to get the best team, bring in the best players. And I think Rodgers, if he'd have committed himself a bit earlier, or in fact, if he'd have committed himself and signed a new deal, then he might have got a bit more money off the board to go and make an assault on Europe. But we're playing not that long ago, holding the Germans, Bayern, and playing really well in that competition. And the knockout stages to falling off a cliff against Kyra, man, it's sad to think that's where we are. Nancy, is he the man to take us forward? Personally, I don't think he is, but if he's a manager, you're going to give him your support, your backing, until such times as it becomes untenable that he needs to leave. Does that win at the weekend give him more time? It probably does. Is it right? Probably no, in my opinion. But it's what we've got. It's on you've got in the old cares. It's you need to play with what you're dealt with. And let's hope that win at the weekend gives us a new dynamic, gives us an opportunity, gives us some newfound, I don't know, energy or whatever to go out there and start to perform now. And we'll only see it in the next 3 games. Next 3 games are very, very important. The last 3 were very important, but these 3 ultimately are make or break the guy, I think. Because if you're going to get rid of him, you're going to need to get rid of him sharp. You're going to get a new guy in, even sharper, and give him opportunity to build a team. Try to bring in new players in a window that hasn't been kind to us, because January's not a good window to bring in players. Only saving grace for this year is the World Cup's coming up. Yep. Players maybe want to move to get a steady ground, play more games, get more game time to go and then produce for their team in the World Cup. So me and now, I'm not happy where we are. I'm like everybody else. I'm annoyed at the way the board has been treating the fans. The board have been doing well in general, maybe the last 10 years, but other than that, mate, we should have been pushing on, because any other team in our position would have been pushing on year in year. We sort of react rather than we're reaction. Something happens, then we've been proactive or reactive, and I think that's where the fail is every single time. The board are failing is every time on that. They would rather wait till somebody was right on their tails or took care of us a bit before they react to going again, instead of getting. It's like a long distance runner. You're out there and you're leading the field. You don't let them catch up to run away again. Conserve your energy. Take stock of what you've got and just pull away and keep pulling away gradually and adding to it. And that's the way I see it, mate. I don't know how you see it.
No, 100%, Toby. Obviously we don't know. Well, I personally don't know the full ins and outs. Obviously, what happened between Rodgers and the board and the players, I don't know. I don't think we'll ever get disclosed fully what happened. I still think that Dermot Desmond's kind of character assassination assault on Rodgers was mind-blowing. I understand that you might not like the guy or what he's done, but at least all you need to say is, thanks for your efforts, Brendan. It might have not worked out or whatever else. Then we'll see you later. You don't need to come out and do that. That might be between you and him through emails, phone calls, texts, whatever. That's fine, but I don't think it paints a good picture for anybody, a player, a manager, or a coach to come back into the club, because if you don't do well, are you going to then get the same opinion for him? Who, albeit he's not Celtic, he's not the owner. So, what gives him the right to come out and do that?
Especially on the club's official channel, mate.
Yeah,
on the club's
yeah.
I don't mind if it was in the newspaper, or it was him giving an interview, but for him to come out and state it on our media source, is outrageous. And again, it's that middle of the night, so to speak. It's at late evening where they've put a statement out again. When you're like, who's sitting there on it? Who's the guy in charge of doing that? Has he got the password? They've got the log on details. Know what I mean?
It's
on the back of that, why is Rodgers not come out and said something? Has the pay happened that we don't know about?
I don't know. I'm maybe thinking Toby
does he want to bring the club in?
Possibly. I'm thinking that he's just letting the results and letting the players do the talking. I think what's happened since he's left has been even worse than maybe the stage it was when he was here. And I think that's kind of talking for him, Toby, to be honest with you. The state of the squad, the way the board's been talking to the fans at AGMs and talking in the press and the media, and they're blaming the fans for everything that goes wrong at the club, and they don't take responsibility for any mistakes are made or responsibility for the club going down the way we are. No, I can take title fights, Toby. I can take a full-blown Hearts beyond getting back to money, Rangers back to money, Hibs, Aberdeen, whoever it is. I can take title fights when teams are going toe-to-toe with similar wages, similar transfer structures, similar everything. But when Celtic should be, obviously we've been pulling away in domestic side and we'll get that money financially, but I think the full thing for me that puts it all together was when it took us to get beat off the Rangers for Dyler to get sacked and then start spending money with Rodgers. Why not get the best manager at that present time, the best players? Why wait? And then they waited till COVID happened. Right, now we need to then get Ange, we need to spend money in players, we need to try and get back ahead. You need to, it's like a business. You try and keep a business and investments on tap all the time. Celtic is a business, yes, but it is also a football club. And we qualify for Europe, but they've lost 7 of the last 10 qualifiers. So they've not been prepared. In any time we've had to be prepared, they've not been prepared. Every window, like you mentioned, in terms of the finances and buying players, they're reactive, right? We've not signed somebody yet. We need to buy these 3 players and we'll overspend to get them. And then Engels, Trusty and Nida get criticised because of their failings to get deals done properly. But because they win the league and they've got 80, 70, 90 and whatever it is in the bank, they're doing a brilliant job. But think of I don't want to be disrespectful to some of the teams, but teams like your Malmos, your Molders, getting beat off Copenhagen and Aalborg and all these teams, Cluj, they're beating you in Europe and beating Europa League, putting you to Almaty. We can blame the players, right, Toby? We can blame the players. We can blame Rodgers. That tie should have been done without any transfers, right? It should have been, right? Mm-hmm. But ultimately, did Brendan Rodgers, us as Celtic fans, get the best chance to see our team progressing and fighting for the Champions League? Did the players like your McGregors, I know Jota's injured, but did the players there get the help to progress Celtic in all fronts? Ultimately, for me, the answer is no, mate. And that's the frustration. It's not that we're spending 50 million or no spending 50 million. It's spend your money wisely, own quality. But you're signing guys like Tanek and Marlisha who have hardly any assists and any goals. Your Maddox gets 6 goals. So who's sanctioning 6 signings? It's like, Toby, even if you manage an amateur team, you want to go and sign a striker who's score goals. It's common logic. It's common logic. And
somebody that's got a bit of presence about them and they're confident in their ability. What thing for me is you said there at Europe, mate. Mm-hmm. We brought in, as soon as we went out of Europe, the Champions League, we brought guys in sharp as you like.
Yep.
Why were they no in? 2 weeks before it? Yeah, as soon as we get put out, all of a sudden these guys. So it proves that they weren't coming for Champions League football.
No.
Because if they were coming for Champions League football, they'd have been in. So they wanted to come to Celtic. The guys that we brought in wanted to come to Celtic, and the deal should have been done to give us the fans the chance to see the team progress, and to help the team currently that we've got in place the best opportunity, the best chance to need together and bring in new fresh bodies to go and challenge for that next. So I totally agree with you, mate. Everything you said there, totally agree with you.
I think because we've got the money in the bank and we've been domestically, and because we signed players like Matt O'Reilly's and selling them on, but it's not going to happen every single season. You're not going to get £1 million Matt O'Reilly to sell for 25. It's not, and ultimately, if you're going to get that, you need to win the Champions League, because that's why you sold Nicholas Kuhn, because he was amazing. That's why Daiz Maeda is getting rumoured to go to Brentford, because he was amazing in Europe and he scored 30 odd, whatever it was, goals, 40 goals. Yep. It's because they're doing it at the high spectrum, what their powers, what you can go at. Nobody, if Johnny Kenny scores 20 goals in Scotland, nobody's going to sign him for £10 million. But if Johnny Kenny's scoring 20 goals in Scotland and scored 6 goals in Champions League,
yep,
that's players you, oh wow, Johnny Kenny, what a player. But
I scored 20 domestically, he scored 6 in Europe.
Aye,
He's
it's like Adam Ida, right? Adam Ida gets criticised, especially often myself, right? He scored 20 goals, granted, but a Celtic striker, in my opinion, should be getting 20 goals a year minimum. That's just my opinion. Other fans might think different. But the all-round game has to be good. Adam Ida's all-round game wasn't up to scratch. That's why he got criticised, not because he was £9 million, because he wasn't good enough. Giakoumakis was what, 2.5 or £3 million. All-round play, brilliant, goal scorer. Nobody was saying, oh, why was he only £2 million? Because he'd done the business, so that's why he was praised, because he'd done his duty. Kyogo was cheap. Well, not cheap, but £4 million or so, £3 million, but he scored goals and his all-round play was good. People I just think the recruitment's been terrible.
It's not just about scoring the goals, it's about your all-round ability to hold the ball up, to play into a channel, to make the pass, to make the move. Your whole game needs to be complete, and we've not had that for a striker in a while. Listen, if you were saying earlier on, if Kyogo comes back, we're replacing Kyogo, and I said, replacing Kyogo with Kyogo. So we replaced KT with KT, as we said earlier on, and Jota with Jota. So why not Kyogo with Kyogo? You know what I mean? But I just think, I don't know, but looking at, where do you see us? It's very hard to ask this, but where do you see us come end of the season? Because we're in a position, I think we're in limbo now, we still don't really know what's ahead of us.
I think the next few games in January, and the next few games will be key. I think if you win the next 2 games, Livingston and Motherwell, and then you beat Rangers, I think the momentum, I think the manager into January, I'd like to think the board might go, oh, right, we're maybe going to get back up to tap here. Right, we really need to put the wrongs that we've done, we need to progress as a club and give him money. Because if the board don't give Nancy money, we can't really blame Nancy for getting beat, because he's let's be fair, the standards of football club guys, like, again, it's my opinion, people might come at me and go, you're Ryan, that's fine. But guys like even young Donovan, right, it's not his fault, but young Donovan, Ralston, Scales, Kenny, potentially look McKibben, these guys would never start for Celtic in the last 5-6 years. They would get nowhere near even the bench. But because they're here and they're doing all right, Jan played well, did he? Oh, did he? Did he really? It's because of where we have came from. Like Nicholas Kuhn and Jota, Abada, Jota, to no offence to these players, because I still support them. I love got to see Celtic, but Taneki, Gang and Barlett, it's total different stratospheres. And
it's levels, mate.
We're saying Taneki's doing a good step over and he's played. Did he? So for me, it's just about the standards, Toby, and I think the standards have went for there, and I think they're going there. But I really hope, I don't think Nancy's a man, I don't think the system's for us, but until he gets his players, I'm trying to reserve judgment, but we need to see it on the park. So he's got to get one of games, there's 7, 8, 9, 10 games. He's got to beat Rangers, go to beat Livy, go to Motherwell, and you've got to have a good January. But ultimately, I still think we'll win the league. I still think we'll be all right to win the league. But it's the summer I'm worried about, because if we win the league, you then get a qualifier. Do I think this same board are going to be prepared for the summer and a rebuild? I really don't think so, and that's my fear, mate.
I think it's going to be hard in all coming summer to try and get somebody in, because if we've got a player in mind, they could be doing really well in the World Cup. They're not going to be coming in. You know what I mean? The World Cup's going to put everything back a wee bit. And
sorry to cut you in, but it's on that point. If we've got a forward-thinking board, they'd already be ahead of that.
Aye, well, I totally agree. Here's a question for you, right? So Nancy came in there and had four bad games, we'll say, right? Do you think if Hira came in straight for Rodgers leaving, it might be we might be in a different position than now, or do you think that he's not? Because what I was thinking of, if he came in previously today, the Hearts game, the cup final, and the Roma game, right, where I had time to work with the team. So ideally, I came in at the last international break. That's ideally when we should have been in. If he comes in at that, he's got more time. So now this week he's got a full week basically. Obviously, they'll have time after Christmas, but he'll have more time on the training ground. He'll have more period of time over that. We've got a wee bit more confidence. We've won a game under that sort of a formation. Granted, it was against 10 men in the second half, but Aberdeen done really well the second half. They got a goal back. We had to go in and chase the game and win it. But ultimately, my thinking is, if Hira came in under Rodgers, would it be a difference? Do you think there could have been maybe a slight change, or no? Probably still be the same. He's still trying to find his feet. The team don't really know what they're doing. Some players don't know positions. It's a hard one. It
is a hard one. I think if he came in right after Rodgers and just say it was 10 days or 2 weeks on an Arsenal break, he's got 2 weeks to potentially drip feed his system, drip feed what he thinks or wants players to play with the players that are here, and then he can drip feed it into the games where, if it's like Falkirk at home, he can drip feed it. Because again, it's no disrespect to Falkirk. John McGlynn's a top manager. They've got some really good players. They play football the right way. But Celtic should be beating Falkirk at home, right? Better players, budgets, everything you name it, right? Celtic should be beating Falkirk at home. That's where he could try his system. If it's not working right, I'll revert back, get the 3 points, and then we'll work on it again. I just think he's trying to change it too quickly. And again, it's just my opinion. You might think different. You might think the same. But
no, I'm agreeing with that. I know.
You can't walk into any football club or any business or any job and go, right, what you've done the last 4, 5, 6, 10 years, whatever, that's done. This is what I'm. Whoa, wait a minute here, mate. We've done this. Right, you're telling guys like Liam Scales to play a flying winger and overtake Kieran Tierney. It's not happening. You're telling Tanecki, who is played at the left, to play a full-back. You're telling Yang to play at the left, to play right. That's. I know they should be good players to adapt, but give them time. It's like me. If I start on Joe Memora, I'm not going to get told my full role one day. That's the way. Again, it just seems like that. So I don't know. Maybe he'd have had more time to get his system and get positions and across, probably. But the way that he's done it in the 3 games that he's done it, it's, for me, he's set himself up for a fall, because for me now, don't you feel, Toby, and the rest of the viewers, but I think he's new on a game-to-game basis for me now, and until he goes on a run, because if he doesn't beat Livy, pressure on him. If he doesn't beat Motherwell, do you keep him for the Rangers game or do you sack him? Because ultimately the Rangers game, whether or not people like it or no, could potentially figure out the rest of the season. Aye. If you go and beat Rangers 2-3 not Celtic Park, you walk out of Celtic Park, we're all buzzing. We're going to the podcast on Monday, you're going here talking to the fans, maybe get back to the pub, you're buzzing. Here we go, this is us. Momentum, January, get a good January. But if you get beat, where do we go for here? Because other signings might go, well, you're maybe 6 or 9 points behind Hearts. You're not really getting European football. Why do I want to come?
Yep.
It's a dilemma, isn't it?
Yep, as and do you give him, as you say there, if he loses his next 2 games, but then he goes and wins the Rangers one, as you're saying, so it gives him a bit more.
But then again, if he loses the next game after that, he's.
That's what I'm saying. So, and then after the Rangers game, he loses 2 again. So is it 1-1? But it's not about the results. It's a results-driven.
Yep.
It's a results-driven business. If you're not getting the results, you're not winning. We all know in Scotland, right? Where we look, we want to look at it another way. We don't like it when the English say it's a 2-horse race. Well, this season it's no. There's 3 horses in it, and 2 of the horses are going really well now, and we're stumbling. We're just making it defensive every now and again, and one's catching us, and the other one's sort of just staying ahead of us. and it's how we come back for that. But results are the most important thing in this game. I couldn't care if we won 1-0 or 10-0 and it hurt off somebody's backside and flew in the 90th minute. As long as we get the 3 points for the next 5 games, I'll be happy, because what it starts doing then is it starts putting confidence in your players that we're hard to beat. We're on a run of 5 games. Let's make it 6. They don't want to get that 5-game run up. They want to get the 6 game. They want to get the 7 game. And you said it earlier on, whether it be amateur football, professional, you look for the positives. The striker scoring 7 games. Well, we're taking him. The striker scored 7 goals in 2 seasons. We don't want him. You know what I mean? Unless he was out with an injury for the 18 months. You know what I mean? But
a logical, common sense person who's involved in football, that's the way you would think. But it doesn't seem like the way we do recruitment, Toby.
No, I think we do the old dartboard stuff. You know what I mean? But, mate, I don't know. We'll look forward to it. Right, Rose, I've got to say thanks very much for coming on, mate. It's been a pleasure. Keep doing what you're doing with the podcast. I really appreciate your time as well. Have a nice Christmas and a Happy New Year, and hopefully it starts come Saturday with 3 points away to Livy.
No, thanks for inviting me. Thanks for inviting Toby. Really enjoyed chatting with you, going through the old times and old players. Again, thanks for supporting the podcast and watching. It's appreciated, and we value your support, mate. So, but yeah, I'll keep watching yourself, mate. I'll keep touching. Hopefully, we end the year and we start the year with some victories, and Merry Christmas for both Nancy and us as well. So yeah, take care, mate. Enjoy the festive time, and hopefully we get some victories very soon, mate.
No problem. Thanks very much, man. Catch you in action, mate.